Welcome to this deep dive. We're taking your resources, specifically Devin D. Thorpe's 925 IDE1.pdf today, and really digging in.
It's quite a comprehensive piece on family finance and well-being.
Yeah, and our mission really is to pull out those key insights, the actionable stuff, maybe even a few surprises, to help you feel, more empowered managing the family money.
Absolutely. And it covers such a wide range, doesn't it? From teaching kids the basics
Right.
all the way through to retirement planning, handling financial bumps in the road. It's the whole journey, really.
Okay, so let's start unpacking it. Foundational stuff first. Teaching children about money.
A big one.
Yeah. The text mentions a few ways, but one that jumped out at me was involving kids in actual household budget decisions.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, specifically around their own activities. It's not just saying yes or no based on, nothing they can see.
Right. It makes it tangible for them. They see the constraints, the available funds.
Exactly. They become part of the process.
And that probably makes them value it more, understand the trade-offs involved. It's not just mom or dad saying no arbitrarily.
Makes sense. And that kind of flows into setting family savings goals, doesn't it?
It does. The source talks about doing that together.
Making the progress visible somehow, like a chart.
Yeah, exactly. And celebrating the milestones along the way.
So it flips the script a bit.
Yeah.
The excitement isn't just about the spending at the end.
Precisely. It becomes about the achievement of saving together. You gamify it a little, make it a shared win.
I like that. Okay, moving on. Family time that doesn't drain the wallet.
Always important.
The text lists 12 free things families can do. Walks, visiting grandma.
Historical sites, the beach, community events, lots of good ideas there.
It really drives home that quality time isn't about the price tag.
Not at all. It's the connection, the shared experience.
Yeah.
And I liked the suggestion about looking up info after visiting a historical site. Makes it stick.
Yeah. Extends the learning. Now, for a different kind of budget-friendly break, staycations.
Ah, yes, the staycation.
The source argues they can be just as good as a big trip if you're intentional.
Meaning?
Planning unusual activities, maybe stuff you wouldn't normally do around town. Treating your home like a base camp, almost.
Yeah, breaking the routine. That element of novelty, even in familiar surroundings, is key. It's about the mindset, making it feel special.
And then there's another angle, service vacations.
That's more than just saving money.
Right. The focus is on involving the whole family in the planning, having shared goals around making an impact, learning something.
That's powerful. It teaches empathy, gives perspective, shifts the focus from getting to giving. Can be incredibly bonding.
Okay, let's shift to a really crucial area, getting on the same page financially with your spouse.
Oh, definitely crucial. And often tricky.
The text stresses understanding each other's feelings about money first, before jumping into solutions or trying to persuade. Why is that order so vital?
Because money talk is loaded. It taps into deep emotions, fears, values. So if you start by trying to convince, defenses go up immediately. But if you start with empathy, understanding why they feel that way.
You build a bridge first.
Exactly. Create space for collaboration later on.
And once you have that foundation, then you discuss the long-term goals, like buying a house, college savings.
And retirement, too. The source specifically calls that out.
When, where, how of retirement. Big conversations.
Yeah.
Easy to put off.
Very easy. But they're really about making sure you're both aiming for the same future, or at least understanding each other's vision. Avoid surprises later.
Okay, another pillar for family financial health, according to the source, insurance.
Yep. The essentials.
It highlights 4. Auto, homeowners or renters, health, and life. Let's take auto first. The point made is don't just settle for the state minimum.
Right, because those minimums are often, minimal. They might not cover you if you hit an expensive car or if there are serious injuries.
You could be on the hook for a lot, personally.
Exactly. You need to assess your own risk.
And with homeowners or renters insurance, it's not just covering your stuff, right?
No, it's also about displacement costs. Like, if you can't live in your home because of damage, where do you stay? That costs money.
Plus theft, other losses, and renter's insurance.
Yeah.
Feels like one people skip sometimes.
They do, often. But your landlord's insurance covers the building. It doesn't cover your furniture, clothes, electronics. Imagine replacing all that.
Oof, yeah. Adds up fast.
Renter's insurance is that safety net. Usually pretty affordable, too.
Okay, health insurance. Complex, obviously, but the source cuts to the chase. Healthcare is expensive.
Extremely.
So even if employer plans seem costly, Going without is a huge gamble.
It's potentially catastrophic financially speaking. One major illness or accident can lead to crippling debt, even bankruptcy. The premiums are protection against that worst-case scenario.
And finally, life insurance. Its role seems clear, protecting the family financially if a provider dies, especially with dependents.
Mm-hmm. It's tough to think about, no question. But it's fundamentally about ensuring your loved ones are secure, that they can maintain their life, cover costs, without that added financial stress during a difficult time.
All right, let's pivot to spending less, saving more. A classic.
Always relevant.
The source has this great framing. Living frugally now is like living like a millionaire later. It emphasizes discipline, consistency, especially for young folks aiming for that $1 million retirement.
It's about reframing frugality, isn't it? Not deprivation, but a choice for future freedom. Delayed gratification.
How do you actually do that consistently, though?
Well, the power of compounding helps. Small amounts saved regularly add up hugely over time, but discipline, that's the trick.
And the source points to budgeting is key.
Yeah.
Creating one, sticking to it.
Yeah. The B word. Doesn't have to be scary, it's just a plan.
What's the biggest hurdle people face, you think?
Often, just awareness. Tracking spending for even a month can be a real eye-opener. Where does it all go?
Right. Once you know, you can make intentional choices.
Exactly. The budget gives you that framework.
Here's a super practical tip from the text. Throw away catalogs immediately.
Huh. Simple but effective. Out of sight, out of mind. Removes the trigger for impulse buys.
Yeah, avoids the temptation altogether. Now, what about habitual splurging?
More complex.
The source suggests a sort of financial diagnosis. Look for signs like high credit card debt, buying stuff you don't use.
Right. Identifying if there's a pattern.
And it even touches on why. Maybe feeling powerless, anxious. It goes deeper than just bad habits.
It often does. Overspending can be a coping mechanism. Understanding the emotional triggers, stress, boredom, whatever, is step one to finding healthier ways to cope.
Okay, back to practical savings. The text mentions coupons, thrift stores, garage sales.
Time-tested stuff. Being resourceful.
Buying used cars from individuals too, but doing your homework first. Checking Carfax.com.
Smart move. Gotta check the title status. Accident history.
These aren't revolutionary ideas maybe, but good reminders. A few bucks here and there add up.
They really do. It's about being consistently mindful of where your money's going.
And eating out. The advice is basically save it for special occasions.
Yeah, maybe think about frozen dinners as a cheaper, quicker alternative sometimes. Not gourmet, but budget-friendly.
It's a trade-off, definitely. Can save a lot, though.
For sure. And more control over what you eat, usually.
Okay, let's switch it up. Generating extra income.
Ah, the side hustle potential.
The source contrasts options trading, presented as pretty risky, aiming for quick riches,
High risk, yeah. Very speculative.
versus consistent investing in mutual funds. The preference seems clear for long-term stability.
Definitely. Mutual funds, especially diversified ones, spread the risk. It's a marathon, not a sprint approach to building wealth. Options can be more like a sprint towards a cliff sometimes.
Good analogy. For something more accessible, it suggests selling your valuable junk online,
And declutter and earn.
using eBay for stuff you can ship, Craigslist for bigger local things. It gives tips on pricing, photos.
Right, presentation matters. And choosing the right platform for the item. It's like a treasure hunt in your own attic or garage.
Totally. And for skills like writing or photography, freelancing gets a mention.
Yeah, potential there.
But with a dose of realism, right? It teaches dedication. There's competition. It's not necessarily easy money.
No, it's work. Marketing yourself, managing clients, meeting deadlines, it requires commitment.
Okay, let's talk career. Advancing, earning more from your main job.
Crucial for the overall picture.
The source has some simple, fundamental advice.
Yeah.
Like your job. Or at least find aspects you like. Work hard.
And give your boss a break.
Yeah, basically make their life easier, be proactive, positive. Seems basic, but probably effective.
Those foundations often get overlooked, but they really can make a difference in opportunities and recognition.
And when it comes to pay, figuring out what's fair.
Researching market rates, considering internal company stuff.
And asking for a raise. It frames it like a negotiation.
Which it is.
Timing matters. Don't just demand a number. Be patient. Show appreciation.
And be ready with alternatives if the answer isn't quite what you hoped for. It's about showing your value professionally.
And in today's world, your online presence matters too. LinkedIn profile, keeping social media clean.
Absolutely. It's your digital first impression, especially when job hunting. It needs to look professional.
Okay, big topic shift. Saving for college.
A major goal for many families.
We get introduced to 529 plans. Tax advantage savings tools.
Right. Big benefit there is the tax treatment. Growth is tax deferred, and qualified withdrawals are federally tax-free. Some states offer deductions too.
And there are two main types mentioned.
Yeah, savings plans and prepaid tuition plans.
Savings plans seem more flexible. Use the money at most schools for various expenses.
Generally, yes, more flexibility. Prepaid plans lock in tuition rates, often at specific in-state public schools. Less flexible, but can protect against tuition hikes if you use those specific schools.
So you need to weigh certainty versus flexibility.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And the qualified expenses are broad tuition, fees, housing, books, even computers.
Good to know. But saving for multiple kids, that feels daunting.
It can, absolutely.
The advice seems to be start early, save something. Even if it's just a small amount per month per child to begin with.
Exactly. Get the habit started. Time and compounding are your biggest allies here. Starting early, even small, makes a huge difference down the road.
All right, let's tackle the other huge long-term goal, retirement.
The big one.
The source explains 401ks, employer plans, tax benefits, and strongly urges participating, especially if there's a match.
That employer match is key. It's essentially free money, a guaranteed return on your contribution right off the bat.
You absolutely want to get that match if you can.
Definitely. Leaving it on the table is leaving money behind.
The text also points out, pensions are rare now. People are living longer.
So the burden is more on us individually.
And we need our savings to last longer.
Mm-hmm.
Might need over $1 million, it suggests. That number can feel intimidating.
It can, but it highlights the importance of starting early and saving consistently and, well, generously if possible. Procrastination really hurts with retirement savings because of compounding.
Time is your most valuable asset.
Absolutely.
What about Social Security? The source mentions it, but cautions it might only cover, 25–50% of pre-retirement income?
Yeah, it's income dependent, and it's designed as a safety net, not a full replacement income for most people. You need your own savings to bridge that gap.
So personal savings are essential. What about old 401ks from previous jobs?
Good question. The advice is usually to consolidate them, roll them over into an IRA or maybe your current 401k if it allows.
Makes it easier to manage.
Yeah, simplifies things. Then invest wisely diversified, low-cost mutual funds, mix of stocks and bonds, adjusting risk as you age. The source mentions no-load funds.
Meaning?
Just means no sales commission when you buy or sell shares. Keeps costs down.
Got it. And it mentions dollar cost averaging. Sounds fancy, but it's just investing a fixed amount regularly, right? Like in a 401k.
Exactly. You're likely already doing it. You buy more shares when prices are low, fewer when they're high. Smooths things out, reduces timing risk.
And finally, for retirement readiness, it talks about net worth. Assets minus liabilities.
A key measure of overall financial health.
Aiming for maybe 10–15 times your pre-retirement income. A benchmark to shoot for.
It's a target. Helps you gauge if you're on track. Gives you the big picture beyond just account balances.
Okay, let's touch on the tougher stuff. Financial hardship.
Yeah, life happens.
The source gives ideas for surviving tough times, like working out payment plans for medical bills.
Open communication with creditors is often step one.
And considering bankruptcy only as a last resort. Important to know the options exist, even if they're difficult.
Absolutely. Exploring all avenues, maybe getting professional advice before taking drastic steps.
And on a more philosophical note, the text brings up that idea. More money doesn't always equal more happiness after a certain point.
Right. The diminishing returns of wealth on happiness.
And it warns against prioritizing money over family values or spending future income you don't actually have yet. Perspective matters.
Totally. Aligning finances with what truly matters. Avoiding the trap of lifestyle inflation beyond your means or chasing wealth at the expense of well-being.
And for people already struggling with too much debt.
There are steps outlined.
Listing debts, assets. Maybe using investments to pay high-interest debt. Selling off grown-up toys or unused stuff.
Yeah, making potentially hard choices to regain control. Downsizing cars or even homes might be necessary sometimes.
Tough decisions, but aimed at long-term relief.
Exactly. Reducing that debt burden can be incredibly freeing.
Okay, last area here. Charitable giving.
Giving back.
The guidance is practical. Research charities first. Make sure they're legit.
Check with state regulators, Better Business Bureau, Wise Giving Alliance. Do your homework.
And tips for effective giving. like focusing maybe on a few causes you really care about.
Giving more than you might initially think, volunteering time, too. That connects you more deeply. And, interestingly, eliminating your own debt first is also mentioned as a way to enable more generous giving later.
Makes sense. Get your own house in order. Wow. Okay, we have really covered a lot of ground from this source, Devin D. Thorpe's 925 IDE 1.pdf.
We certainly have. It's incredibly broad, touching on so many stages of family financial life.
Yeah, from those first money lessons for kids, budgeting, insurance, saving for college and retirement, all the way through navigating hardship and giving back. It's a full framework.
It really is. And what stands out is that mix of practical nuts and bolts advice alongside the bigger picture stuff, values, goals, communication.
Definitely. So, as everyone listening reflects on all these different facets we've just talked through, here's maybe a final thought to chew on.
Okay.
Considering everything, all these areas, what's maybe one small but significant step you feel inspired to take after this deep dive? Could be anything. Looking into a 529, finally drafting that budget, talking to your partner about retirement.
That's a great question. And definitely go back to the source material itself. We've covered highlights, but there's more detail there. Maybe something specific caught your ear today that you want to explore more.
For sure. Ultimately, we hope this deep dive has given you a solid foundation, some real food for thought for making those informed financial decisions and building a more secure and fulfilling future for you and your family. Thanks for diving in with us.